Welcome to CK's Web Show, where we review companies in interesting niches and build out a game plan. This company came to us for help. What's a 3 to 6 month game plan for how we can make the biggest impact? How would we deliver eye-popping results for them? Normally, I review websites in a niche that's new to me, but because this is the first video I'll share publicly, I want to go back to a familiar niche, one where I have useful tips for any marketer in a space, whether you're new or advanced. And that space is communication software and services, CPaaS, to be more specific, but depending on who you ask, you might also hear UCaaS, CCaaS, VoIP, voice over IP, SIP, session initiated protocol, hosted telephony, cloud PBX, virtual call center. You see how this space gets very complex very fast. All right, we're running through the websites. We're thinking out loud about optimizations. And before I'm done with each one, I'll condense all of our suggested optimizations into the 3 most impactful ones that we should get done in the first 3 to 6 months. Let's find our competitors. Let's see who Google thinks is most relevant these days. Twilio is first, no surprise. Clevo, Infobip, Telnyx. I don't see AVOXI in the mix. That's surprising. Let's find out why. Let's see. Telnyx. Whoa, look at that chart. Okay, so they started caring about SEO recently. Clevo, lower numbers, but similar trend. They've clearly ramped up their SEO efforts in really the last year. Okay, so AVOXI had a site migration somewhere around here, and it looks like that hurt pretty bad. But you've naturally built back up, and you got back to right around your earlier peak, but now it's kind of dropping off again. Okay, we'll see if we can make some minor adjustments and change things. What happened to bandwidth? What did they do? How did they destroy all their traffic? That deserves its own episode. We'll do AVOXI, Telnyx, Clevo. We're doing AVOXI first. So full disclosure, I used to work here. It's actually where I learned how to do SEO. It was a very rewarding experience for me. I'm still friends with many people at this company. They've done a lot of big things since I've been involved with them. I love these people. I want them to do well, even if we're not working together. So I'm going to take a little extra care with this one. I think they've built on a lot of functionality since I was familiar with them. So I'm excited to see what's going on the website. Let's check it out. Okay, the website looks similar. It's definitely been cleaned up, but the content itself is pretty similar. So I spoke with somebody at the company. They used to only focus on demand gen content, or if you wrote an article, it was probably designed to rank in search engines or be a landing page. That was it. Now I think they're doing a lot more content geared towards traffic that they are sending to the page, not necessarily just waiting for SEO to pick things up. So I think it also translates more to LinkedIn content and podcast appearances and the like. Okay, I need to deep dive in this content for a bit. I will be back. I'm back. So some of these blogs are not designed to rank in search engines, and I'm not going to waste time trying to pretend like they need to be fixed because they serve a different purpose. But there are some more recent blogs here that look like they are going for SEO keywords. So let's look at the definitive guide to SIP trunking in the USA and beyond. So I think that's a H1 typo up top. I'm assuming this is going for the term SIP trunking USA or SIP trunk provider USA. But if I check the search results, in this case, you're actually already ranking. If you look through this, you'll see Google is definitely favoring product pages and roundups for this kind of search query. I don't see any intro level content here. So if that's your target keyword, you probably want to go with either a landing page for like a product or service, or go with a roundup page. And you actually already are ranking here with best SIP trunk providers USA. Yeah, so I don't think this has been updated in years. So this is an easy win for you right now. Format. If you're targeting that keyword, I would go and target this page with your updates. Let's look at top cloud business VoIP services compared for 2025 as well. So the tip that goes for anybody here is avoid the year in your URL. So here's how another client of mine is doing it. Landing page project. So this was a confusing one always for a company this technical, but I've seen some examples that might be helpful. But if we look at the top blogs you have, we'll see roundup, price guide, roundup, price guide, FAQ, roundup, price guide, roundup. You get the idea. And these are all from years ago. Imagine if you just crank one of these out once a month. After a year, you have a dozen blogs that are all just out there fighting for more traffic for you. Go in Salesforce, look at your top blogs in the last 2 years based on lead conversions. I'll guarantee you you'll see roundups and price guides consistently in the top 10. Hello, CK from the future here. I just watched back this part of the video, and I don't think I explained my recommendations that well. I got excited and I just started yapping for way too long. So let me make this way more concise now. Okay, I think we covered the technical fixes and SEO tactics well enough in the previous recording. This global content sprint's the big one. Let's make sure I cover that well. What we're about to cover works especially well with brand building content versus demand gen content. It's extra perfect for you because we're talking about internationalizing your content. And the key differentiator I see with AVOXI is how connected you are globally. And you have leadership that's willing to travel to these places consistently and be a presence and get face-to-face time, which is especially important with a lot of these cultures that value that more. So the global content sprint will cover text and video content. I'd like to launch a 200-page experiment. That might sound like a lot, but for this type of content, when you already have a library of content like you do, AI tools make this very quick and easy now. We're going to do videos as well. For you, I'm going to recommend your target languages be Malay.
Have consistency, quality yang sukar dicapai.
Benar-benar is karumay niya kasi dati one for kadmite surabur ya
Mandarin, Filipino, Arabic, and I'm not sure on the fifth one. Maybe Indonesian, German, Spanish, maybe French. I think one of those first two. That's 5 languages. And let's try out 40 SEO pages of each. So the Malaysia example, we have landing pages and blogs covered here. Your folder structure on a website would look something like this: country abbreviation / keyword. I'm choosing some of the most successful content that we can speculate should translate well in generals. And of course, we're not going to use the English in those URLs. Of course, we're going to use GPTs to translate those English examples into the localized version of those words. And yeah, you can just slap on Chinese characters on an English URL. It'll still work. Just follow that folder structure and it'll be fine. Part 2 of Global Content Sprint is your video content. You have some great looking new video content.
We proactively jumped to try to...
I'm going to punch some of that content into my handy dandy AI translator.
Tidak dapat Anda lakukan sebaliknya. Anda berurusan dengan satu hubungan di seluruh dunia.
If you want to know what that translator is and you don't feel like searching for it, just shoot me a message. So just based on who I'm seeing in videos already, I see plenty of leadership. I am going to be like a hungry dog for any podcast appearances they do, or anytime they're willing to be filmed talking to me. I would be trying to use that time to create something valuable for a customer. The videos show that you have some extremely knowledgeable employees. I see a lot of names to this company that came from very specialized niches, such as, let's say, Hotel PBX, or they worked at other international vendors. Same thing, I am hungry for content from those people. So I think if you're in AVOXI and you're a content producer right now, you're thinking, how can I get those people to talk to me? How do I pull out the most useful information? And how do I make it enjoyable for them? And how do I make them look good so that they want to keep doing it more often? That's where my head's at if I'm over there. So if we go back to that CPAS company search result where I thought it was strange that you aren't showing up in here, we look at why. There's 2 things I would do that might change this fairly quickly. So this is what Google thinks is the most relevant website for the term CPAS companies. You're on this website, and if it's part 2 is I want to include this reference, but I don't want to give away my source. I found the person who started this company years ago, and he's SEO obsessed, like absolute freakazoid. And he built this PR company with SEO in mind. So all I have to say is when Google suddenly discovers hundreds of other websites linking to your website with those keywords in the anchor text, it's going to suddenly see you as a much more relevant result for that keyword. Hopefully that was helpful. Even if somebody else takes me up on some consulting help, I really hope things go well at AVOXI. I could not recommend that company more. It's a great place to work. It's got a phenomenal product and engineering team behind it. AVOXI is a great place to be. So Telnyx, let's look at some things I really like, and then we'll cover the top 3 things I would do. I like that you're using modern design tactics like gradients in the text. I like that you chose a slightly off-white to go on your full black background. I like a little bit of an off-black. Tune in for the next video for robotics niche. There's a lot of straight F white text on black backgrounds in there. Is that straight F white? Oof. Is it straight F white? Straight F white. I love how much effort you put into showing off your global coverage. It's pretty cool. I can click in any region here and I can see specifically what number types there are. We used to spend a lot of time figuring out how to display this information best for people. We could be less wordy in some parts, but I actually do read most of this text and it's not all fluff. You have a very technical customer and you're leaning into it and you're speaking to them at their level, which makes sense. I like it. You can see that play out in the top nav too. You're not worried about scaring everybody away with too much text. You focus on making this very readable. You broke out all of your key products, key use cases here. The most common things people are thinking of when they think, what do you do? Or what are they hoping you'll do for them? And because of the layout, it's pretty easy to scan. So you're assuming that we know what these technical terms are, or we know what we're looking for already. You also have small text under the items to give some more clarification, which isn't just a good user experience, but it puts all of those descriptions, which contain many keywords, across every single page on your website. So suddenly your whole website gets flushed with these relevant keywords just because you added them to your top nav. It's a really powerful effect. I really like a lot of your page layouts. Makes the text really readable. Design stands out. You've done a good job getting all this complex pricing into a format people can download from you. I would look at Twilio and Plivo for how they display pricing on their website. I think it looks really nice. We're doing Plivo later in this video. I like that you have dedicated pages to take on competitors. You're targeting those keywords, their keywords. So you're doing a lot of things right. I got really excited when I saw this graph. I got more excited when I saw a few similarities on your website to what we were doing on AVOXI a while back. I thought this meant you had launched a whole bunch of geographic landing pages targeting people looking for the number types you sell. But when I go to this view, it looks like you had this massive spike early February that's bringing your average way up. And when I look at some of these pages, I saw this in the video clip from last night. A lot of these strange URLs on your dev website that when I go to now, they don't pull up anything. But that makes the recommendations easy because you're not taking advantage of the super powerful tactic that we'll talk about in a second. So I saw URLs like this and I thought, okay, they made city level pages where they're going to sell phone numbers for the city on these pages. When I go though, it looks like they're blog articles that are just covering general things about whatever area code for the city, which is super easy to crank out, and maybe you'll rank for some question terms there. But when I go to the pages, it looks like they're just answering some basic questions about area codes of whatever city. And so what they're ranking for is terms like people just searching for the area code, which usually they're probably doing because they got a spam phone call or something from somebody using that number. Point being is maybe that's working to win you some traffic, but I'm sure it's not converting. And you do have some country level keywords you're ranking for, but it's for things like this. So how to call Japan. So stuff like this makes me think that you were definitely taking some inspiration from my early days. We've barked up this tree. You're gonna rank for things related to how to call the area, how to dial the area, dial codes for the area, country codes for the area. There's probably more variations to target there, but what's the point? You're winning consumer question keywords, the type that are going to be eaten up by AI answers very quickly. But even if they don't get destroyed by AI, what is the intent of people trying to call Japan? What percentage of those searches are somebody in a business environment trying to make a business decision on buying a communications platform that covers Japan? Not trashing the idea. I thought of it too. I invested a lot of time into this actually. It works, it does something, but it's a lot of effort for not a lot of gain. Okay, so here's what I'm doing if I'm at Telnyx. So I'm tweaking the content strategy towards, talking about blogs and guides right now, towards bottom funnel content. People who are probably searching terms that are probably being asked right before they buy something. Cost comparisons, price guides, best keyword for niche. I'm mentioning cost, I'm mentioning compliance, I'm mentioning uptime way more often, and I'm spending time doing a content analysis around AI keywords in the telecom space, which I will do if we actually work together. Got GeoPage relaunch. This is where I probably have the biggest and most obvious value to add. Looking at old content on AVOXI, you'll find what I'm about to suggest here, an old version of it. You're interested in geographic targets, i.e. how to call Japan, area codes in Illinois. You spent all that time making that content for the country and the city level search terms. Do the same thing, but target commercial terms at those levels. What do I mean? You sell phone numbers and VoIP services in Japan. Why not have a page that has Japan phone numbers for sale, or buy Japanese business numbers, or even just VoIP service Japan? You don't have to do it for every country, but make a template, try it out for 15 countries. I guarantee you your results will be staggering. You're targeting country name, phone number, country name, virtual number, VoIP number, SIP number, DID number, local number, toll-free number, national number, non-geo number. In Japan, they have different types of toll-free numbers. They'll actually search for the area codes of the toll-free number that they want. They're all really funky. They're different over there. You can target things like that. UK is the same way. If you have a UK toll-free page, you should also mention 0800 0808 a lot, because that's what they actually type in. Okay, then you have a technical audit. You have the usual issues. You have that really straightforward content win that I hint at on other competitors. I was going to give away for free for everybody, but it's just too much of an easy win for whoever I work with. Then I'm going to add advanced schema to your website. You do have schema showing up on your product pages, but advanced schema offers way more options to not just enhance the search result, but just stuff keywords into your code in a way that Google actually rewards. You'll get that if we work together. Contact me if you're interested in more about that. Okay, Plebo time.